Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to my channel. So today I decided to do a story time of about the time that I almost got arrested. I guess the full version of it is back in high school. Me and Emily were planning to have a sleepover at her house. Just because like I had never like really slept over at people's houses, and I remember that night, it was a Saturday night, and we had like talked about going out, but we weren't really too sure. That's when I was like in a relationship back then. My ex posted that he was like going to a party, so I was like in my head, well, if he's gonna go to a party, you know what, I'm gonna go to a party, because you know it has to be like even. So then I told Emily like, okay, for sure, like let's go party. And we had already like known about like 2 parties that were gonna be happening in Santa Rosa, so we were just kind of like, fuck it. But the only thing was that we didn't have a ride, so we were kind of like, ugh, and we were just asking like hella people from Santa Rosa like if they could give us a ride to the party, because it was only like I think a 10-minute drive. So then we ended up finding one guy from our high school, and he agreed to take us to the party and that he like hang out there for a bit. We went to the party, and it's by for the people that live in Santa Rosa, it's by Pioneer High School. So we got there and it was pretty lit, and then I remember I got a text from my ex, and he was like, oh, like where you at, and like I know you're at a party because my friends told me that you're there. And I was just like, I mean, yeah, I am at a party. I have nothing to hide. Like, you were at a party, so why can't I be at a party? So then we were just arguing about that. Long story short, he ended up coming to the party, and he was just like super upset or whatever. I didn't really want to argue about it like in public, so I was just kind of like, oh, like back up, you know? And then he was just like lingering there for a bit. Me and Emily were just trying to like, you know, party, drink, have fun. But then the cops showed up, so then we're like, fuck. And back then we weren't really like experienced with parties, because like we were still like minors, so we thought like the cops were gonna like ID us and shit. So I remember me and Emily's right there, she knows what I'm talking about. Me and Emily like flipped out. I don't know why I flipped out, if I had already had previous like, I guess, party experiences.
Oh yeah, and by the way, it was like one of my first times.
Oh yeah, it was like one of her. Oh yeah, we had to sneak out of our house to get to the party. But point is, the cops showed up, so then me and Emily were like, fuck it, we're gonna fucking jump the fence. So we went like towards where the fence was, and we jumped that shit, and then I guess we found our ride too, and he helped us jump the fence. So then we went like outwards to the street to where he had parked his car. Me and Emily still wanted a party, especially because I was like kind of mad about what happened with my ex, you know, about him yelling at me and shit like that. So I was kind of like, you know what, I just want to forget about shit and like have fun and party if he's gonna be doing the same thing. We found out about a party that was gonna be happening in Sebastopol. And for people that live in Santa Rosa know where Sebastopol is, but Sebastopol is basically like 20 minutes away from Santa Rosa, and it's kind of like in the cuts. So the guy from our high school took us to that party, and then we didn't think it was gonna be that far, but when we started driving, and it ended up being like a 30-minute drive in like the fucking middle of nowhere. Like there was no lights, there was no nothing. So me and Emily were just kind of like, okay, this is a little bit scary, but at least we got a ride, you know? It was a little bit scary. Anyways, so we got to the second party, right? It was just like a bunch of like hicks, kind of. So it was kind of awkward because me and Emily like are Mexican, so it was just like kind of weird. But we just stayed there, and then people started getting wild and like breaking shit, and like I felt like the floor was gonna like come down.
The oven was on.
Oh, and then somebody turned the oven on, and like it almost like caught on fire, and I was like, what the fuck is going on? But point is, the cops showed up because we were obviously being hella fucking like loud and scandalous. And then so everybody started dipping, you know, and then this time we were like cool about it. We were just like, okay, we're just gonna walk out, be normal. But the problem was that our ride had left. Like he had told us that he was leaving, but since I knew that one of my friends was coming, I was like, okay, like my friend can give us like a ride back to Santa Rosa if anything. So I was cool with our DD leaving. So then he left. When the cops like showed up or whatever, we started like walking out, and I was like, okay, Emily, look for my friend. so that we can like dip, you know? And we were looking for him, and then we finally found him, and he was like, oh yeah, I came with one of my friends. You have to ask them if you can like hitch a ride with us because there's a couple of us. So then we looked in the car. There was the driver, the passenger, 2 girls, and apart from that, it was me, Emily, my friend, his friend. And then I was like, ugh. But like literally, like everybody was starting to dip, and we literally had like no one else to like get a ride with. So las pendejas de yo y Emily, we're like, fuck it. We're just...
Dude, if we didn't fucking go, we would have been fucking stranded, bro.
Point is, we were like, okay, there's no other way. We have to go in this car. So we went in the car. Like I said, it was a really like small car, so we just were all like hopping on each other and like trying to fit in. And my friend, he couldn't like close the door because like we literally did not fit. But the driver, he just started driving. So then like my friend was like halfway sticking out of the car, like with the door open, and we were just all squished and the driver was driving. I was like, what the fuck? So then my friend, he decided to just like jump out of the car as it was moving, and I was like, what the hell? And then right when he jumped out, all you hear and all you see is like, and like you just see like a fucking bright ass like light flash on us, and my heart literally like sank. I was like, no, did we just get stopped?
I was literally shitting bricks.
It was terrible. And then after that, the cops like told us to like get out, and it was funny because like we just all of us like came out all at once, and they were like in their heads like, damn bro. But it was just like all bad. And then like they made us like line up or whatever, and then they were just like, like the whole process in total took like 2 hours. They were asking us like how like intoxicated we were. Literally me and Emily had only taken 1 shot like that whole night. Like we knew we weren't like fucked up, but I didn't know if the alcohol was still like on my breath. And they were like, you either take a breathalyzer if it comes out like 0, because we were still underage or whatever. If it comes out 0, then you're like free to go, and if it doesn't, you're gonna go to jail. And then or they said that we could just get like a ticket for not having a seatbelt. So then me and Emily were just kind of like, ugh, like, do we really want to risk it? So then we just were like, okay, fuck it, just give us the fucking ticket. So then we signed off on the ticket or whatever, and then at this point our phones were like literally dying. So we were like trying to call like people to like pick us up, because they weren't gonna let the driver drive his car. The driver was fucking intoxicated, and he had a previous DUI before that, and he was on probation. I was like, oh my god, like who would have thought like this fool was like all fucked up. But point is, he couldn't drive his car, so we literally had to catch a ride, and my friend like was gonna get a ride from his friend. So like they didn't have enough space for us, so I was like, oh my god. Me and Emily were literally trying to hit up every single person. And then that's like when I hit up my ex, and I was like, hey, like, can you come pick me up or whatever? And then he literally responded like, no. And I was like, what the fuck? So then I got like hella triggered, and I started calling my sister, and she didn't pick up either. And I was like, oh my god, like who the fuck is gonna pick us up from Sebastopol and take us back home? By this time it was like 3 o'clock in the morning. We were just like starting to freak out, and we were like, what the fuck, how are we gonna get back home and shit? When everybody like that got stopped started leaving, the cops were kind of like, okay, like where's your ride or whatever? And we're like, oh yeah, we don't got a ride, and our phones are dying, and no one will pick up. They were kind of like, okay, can we take you like, I guess, downtown Sebastopol, and you can call like a taxi from there? And we're like, yeah, well, we can't because our phones like are dead now. And then they were like, okay. So then they were like, well, we can give you guys a ride to Santa Rosa. And then we're like, okay, cool. So then we got in the cop car, and we weren't able to record because our phones were dead, but it was like hella sick. They drove us all the way from Santa Rosa. It was like a 30-minute drive. And then once we started pulling up to like the corner of Emily Street, they're like, oh, where do you want us to drop you off? And we were like at a stop sign, and we're like, oh, right here is fine. He's like, you guys left without your parents' permission, right? And we're like, yeah. And they're like, okay, I don't ever want to see you in Sebastopol again. We're like, okay, we're never gonna be there, bro. And then we got off, and we fucking ran to Emily's house, fucking snuck back in. We just started laughing like out of fucking all the stress and all the panic, and we're like, oh my god, like this shit was wild. By the time we got back, it was like 4 or 5 in the morning, and Emily used to go to church like every Sunday. That Sunday morning, like we were gonna go to church, so we literally woke up and we were just like dead, and we just were talking about it like the whole day. In the end, me and Emily had to pay a fine of how much? $160 because of that bullshit that like it could have totally been like prevented. Me and Emily were just like stupid and naive, you know, but now we know better. So that was my story time for you guys. So point of the story is always have a DD or a driver, because you never know when you're gonna get stranded in the middle of fucking nowhere, and have your phone always fucking charged if you're gonna go out. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed my video. Follow me on Instagram. I'll leave my app above. I'll keep you guys posted on future videos. Also subscribe below and give it a thumbs up, and yeah, I'll see you guys soon. Bye.